Decisions. I always had a real rough time making a decision. I didn't make any decisions. I just couldn't. Now, I know how to do it. I found out that if you take a decision, no matter what you choose, that is better than no decision. Because there are no bad decisions, ladies and gentlemen. They are such an important and essential process of human life. Each of you is here because of an exact string of decisions that shaped your life in a way that made you arrive at my talk. Certain path can lead to success, and another one to failure and disappointment. So having a certain approach when it comes to decision making can literally change your life for the better. But the string of decisions exists when you actually take the decision. If you never decide, nothing will happen. There would be nothing. You will not live your own life if you live it by chance, or if someone else does it for you. And this subject is more important now than ever. Nowadays, we are overwhelmed by the diversity of options that are put in front of us. By learning how to overcome indecision, you will save a large amount of time and you live a happier and more fulfilling life. By show of hands, how many of you had to make an important decision and you had no idea what to choose? Alright, I see some hands. Just like you, I'm a very analytical person who tries to take everything into account. For a long period of my life, I found myself wasting so much time and stressing out a lot about making choices. I got to know exactly what happens when you do not decide and how to overcome this barrier. Decision making is such a seamless brain process that we are usually unaware of until our choice results in unexpected consequences. Then we might look back and wonder, why did I choose that option? Research suggests that the brain considers various sources of information before making a decision. Our brains appear wired in ways that enable us to make the best decisions possible with the information we're given. And this happens mostly unconsciously. But if this is the case, then why it is so hard to take them? Often, overanalyzing and overthinking alternatives prevents an individual or a group from making a choice. Also, dwelling on an important decision can generate a lot of negative feelings. Indecision, commonly referred as decisional procrastination, is the habit of postponing a decision when faced with conflicts and choices. During the period of indecision, stress and anxiety can overwhelm the individual. But looking at the underlying causes of these feelings, they are all generated by fear. The fear of making the wrong decision, or decidophobia, a term coined by the Princeton University philosopher Walter Kaufman. This can affect people even when it comes to smallest choices, such as what to have for lunch or what to wear. According to several sources, an adult makes over 35,000 remotely aware judgments every day. This number seems absurd, but there is such a wide scope of actions in our lives that require us to make a choice. Even by looking in this room, that would mean that all the people present today will be making almost 4 million decisions in one day. So even if I'll manage to influence just a tiny part of this number, it will have a huge impact. Included in this number, there are also the high-stakes decisions that have the potential to totally reshape our future. Most of the times, these are some of the things that occupy most of our brain's processing power. For me, the biggest decision was when I had to choose whether to go to university in my home country, Romania, or to study abroad. It was summer 2020. I was 19 years old. I had just finished high school and took the most important exam. My first priority was to have fun and enjoy the holiday. But life was not waiting for me. I had a decision to make, a decision that would change my whole life. I had so many sleepless nights where I would just lie in bed and think about every possible outcome. In the end, 1 week before the start of the academic year, I chose the unknown to go embark on this adventure. And everything went perfectly. Look at me. I am now on this stage having a TED Talk here at the University of Twente. I became a resilient person. I got to know so many different people from all over the world. Here, I had so many great opportunities. I joined an entrepreneurship program, started a business, and learned how to negotiate. When I tell this story, everyone says that eventually I made the right decision. But it didn't always seem like this, especially 2 years ago when I had just arrived in the Netherlands. I still remember my first day in my new home here in Enschede. I was on an inflatable mattress in a completely empty, small room, wondering what I was doing here. On my first day at the university, I didn't know anyone and I was barely speaking English. Of course, things got better and I adapted. But there are still those rainy days when I'm at home, all alone, away from my family. It is hard, especially when there are problems, and not being able to help makes me feel powerless. I sometimes regret not being there with my younger brother to help him get better and overcome the obstacles I also encountered when I was his age. Every time I come back to my country, it is painful to see that I am getting further and further away from my best friends. I'm having such a good time with them that it really makes me wonder, what would have been my life if I stayed? One of them is Alex. We were in the same high school, we had similar grades and interests, and we both wanted to go abroad. Unlike me, he decided to stay and study law at a university in our hometown, Bucharest. Most of the times I was talking with him, he used to say that my life is much more interesting. It is easier to look on the other side and think that you made a bad decision, rather than work to improve your current situation. Usually, regardless of a decision, low stakes or high stakes, it is impossible to see which one is better, even if you would be able to see both outcomes. Next time you find yourself overwhelmed by decisional procrastination or analysis paralysis, just count to 5 and take a snap decision. The American president, Theodore Roosevelt, once said, in any moment of a decision, the best thing you can do is the right thing. The worst thing you can do is do nothing. I would like you to see decision making in a totally different frame. There is no such a thing as a good or a bad decision. Don't focus on the decision. Don't care about it, because on each side there will always be something to cherish and there will always be something to loathe. And even if it turns out it was the worst decision, there will always be something to learn. There is no point in procrastinating and waiting to get more information or asking other people. Trust your gut and let the subconscious mind make the decision. Focus on the question, how can I get the most out of this decision? You are the one controlling what happens after the critical moment of making a choice. At the end of the day, it is all about being at peace with ourselves. By having this mindset, you will never feel the need to look back with regret on any decision. If there is one thing I would like you to take away from my talk, please remember that it is very important to make a choice, because as long as you will be there, it will always be the right decision.